Okay, we're here in St. Catharines at the Service de Course for SpiderTech powered by C10, who have just received the formal announcement on Friday that they are now a Pro Continental team, Canada's first Pro Continental team. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you very much. Yes, it was a challenging process without question, and we fought through the battles, the mistakes, and finally we came up with whatever the UCI wanted to ensure that we were registered. But we had a certain confidence along the way, knowing that we could get it done. It's just a matter of ensuring we got the documents that the UCI required, and we're good to go.
Now, how is this going to make a difference for you? Because you were Continental last year, or this year just finishing. What is really the difference going to be now that you're Pro Continental? How is that going to make a difference in terms of the racing and so on?
Oh, I mean, we see it as an evolution, certainly a historic evolution for Canada, Canadian cycling, and we're definitely proud about that. Our hard work and the build of the team, the sponsors behind that build. But I think that the impetus and the sort of the motivation and inspiration to go for it in 2011 is a lot weighted toward the Pro Tour races in Quebec and Montreal. Which is an opportunity we really can't refuse to participate in as our own entity, SpiderTech powered by C10, which I think there's a lot of weight in that. And then the second part of that is having a professional Continental status gives us perhaps more opportunity, some more credibility in the international cycling scene for invitations, and it gives also the athletes that added inspiration that we're going to reach new levels in the sport, and I think all those add up to be very positive and growth forward. And without growth, we're not going anywhere. So we continue to build.
Can you talk a bit about what the schedule is, or what the plan is in terms of the races that you want to get into, or that you're going to be able to get into this year? You talked about the 2 Canadian Pro Tour races. I believe Sirs Arsenal's already extended you an invitation now.
Yes, well, we're extremely excited that we'll attend the Pro Tour events, and we were even hoping last year that the UCI would give us a green light to be able to do that, but the rules wouldn't allow. So that's a little ways off, but it's certainly exciting to know that we'll be there in the fall. In the spring, it's so many teams want to race the bigger races in Europe, and certainly the goal of the team is to go to Europe immediately in February, March, and April to begin doing the races on the European Tour. We solicited invitations from Tour of the Mediterranean, Giro de Sardinia, the races in Belgium, some semi-classics. We have a certain confidence that we'll be able to do some great races, but the invitations have not been confirmed. So we don't. Well, Tour Turkey actually had a positive response that we could do that race, which is excellent. It's just prior to Tour California, but we'll fill in the gaps. But it's a commitment that we'll do 3 months in Europe. Alongside that program, we still like the Vuelta a Cuba for some of our younger riders, and perhaps even Ryan Roth has expressed some interest to return and do that race, because it's such a good way for the athletes to get involved in warm weather climate, do an extended stage race. It's well organized. We still like that event because it has some good preparation training for the future events further down the season.
Okay. Now, I mean, some of the other events, you mentioned Tour California. I mean, I'm assuming that you're planning on trying to get into that race, but you haven't heard anything yet, I guess.
We've had some communications, and I think, as always, the Tour California is a little bit reserved in extending invitations, immediately to the first teams wishing to go there, because every team in North America certainly wants to do that event. We're hoping with our track record of Team SpiderTech in the past 2 years at Tour Missouri and Tour California, with our good results, and also our support from SpiderTech at those events will carry us into Tour California this year. And certainly our Pro Continental status has to help somewhat to be able to obtain an invitation at Amgen Tour California.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the riders. I mean, there's a lot of returning riders, but you've got some new guys coming in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. every year our intent is to strengthen the roster. Certainly there's the Canadian focus in Continuum, as we want to give our Canadian athletes the first opportunity to grow with this team. And as time goes on, we'll certainly add in international strength. We added in Pat McCarthy, a veteran Pro Tour rider who has sort of been out of the loop a little bit, but showed some super performances in the fall last year at Tour of Utah. And I've seen Pat race in the past, and I have a good feeling that he'll be inspired enough to aid this team when we're going uphill. Ryan Anderson, a Canadian, most of you would know, good time trial strength. He's still young, really good person to have. And certainly Will Rowley, Canadian champion, had an exceptional season last year, raced consistently. Really happy to have Will. Zach Bell, veteran track athlete, aiming for the Olympic Games next year. Just had an exceptional race in Melbourne, second place on the World Cup. Noted for his horsepower, his time trial ability, lead out strength. I think he's a great addition. So we continue to go that one more Hugo Hull, youngster Canadian time trial championship. Raced well in Europe in August, which really impressed me as well, alongside our guys in some of the races that we did. So I think that the balance continues to develop, a little more strength, a little more depth, and we'll just continue to work with our guys the best we can. Okay.
Is the roster complete, or are you still looking at others? I mean, one of the names that potentially might be available is someone like Swain Tuff if Pegasus doesn't work out. Is that something you'd still consider?
Yeah, it's an interesting development. We do have some signings that we want to take place now that we have our UCI registration complete. We didn't want to complicate that file by adding in riders just in the 11th hour. There's bank guarantees, etc., to consider with that with additional financial output. But yes, Sven Tuff, without question. We had discussion with Sven in the fall about joining this team, and certainly he likes the Canadian element. He likes developing Canadian cycling. Of course, Sven is an exceptional athlete. He's proved himself to be one of the best in the world in the time trial, and we'd love to have him. It's certainly going to be difficult if we are to obtain him. He deserves an excellent salary. He's proved himself at the Pro Tour. I'm sure there's other teams interested in him, but I'm not saying that we're not going to give it a shot.
Okay. So this year, can you talk a bit about what some of the goals are going to be for the team this year?
Well, I think goals will be similar as last year. We're going to go to Europe and we're going to stretch the legs and see if we can get some decent results. I'm always a little bit conservative about saying, hey, we're going to do this and that and win this and that, but the guys usually speak for themselves. We had a great season last year and we want to build on that. So I think the first 3 months in Europe we'll target a few events to see if we can pull off some good performances. Amgen Tour California, without question, will be the big spring goal in May, followed by the TD Bank International in Philadelphia. It's a race I've always said we can win. We've come close. Maybe this year will be our year. Tour de Beauce, of course, our Canadian UCI event, we always have to focus on and support that race and try to do well. After which, we usually take a little bit of a break in July, and then we'll head back to Europe in August, as we did last year. But there's some interesting events that have developed, like Quiznos Challenge and Tour of Utah. We'll take a look at those. I'm not really decided whether we'll participate or not. We'll have to see, because we only have perhaps 16 to 18 riders on the roster, and we can't be split too thin. But Europe is definitely something that we need to focus on in August, and of course the Pro Tour events in Quebec, Montreal, which will be a big deal for us in the fall, and then the World Cycling Championships is something that we're going to take very seriously, with Guillaume Boivin, David Boye, and Hugo Hull being a trio that each and every one of them has a shot at a medal or even winning the race there in Denmark next fall.
Well, congratulations on getting the team registered to Pro Continental, and we'll look forward to see how you do.
Thanks, Rob.